All right. Yeah, just want to talk about utilitarianism. What's going on, Shade? What's going on? Yeah, yeah, yeah. No audio. Oh, what you talking about? Hold on for a second. Check the live chat. Yeah. Start. Start. Cancel. Go in. Let's see. Let's get on with it. It's not profit. Yeah, activism. Yeah. Shit. Okay. What's going up? All right. We here. What's going on? What's up? Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Yes, I'm here. I want to talk about this subject. Um, yeah, yeah. Change of construct. One of my first videos is the pros and cons of utilitarianism. I might mention it in this video. Not this video, but this stream. Yeah, I'm just gonna break it down of the philosophy, so I don't get my hands on it. Hold on, I might have to do a couple of the 13 disadvantages of it. Get my thoughts on it. Green Garage. Okay, you look for this source for yourself. That was from my first video. Now this is like all the series I've done of moral worth. It will say. Let's get it started. The utility. We're talking about utilitarianism. I got this idea from his recent vid of the black pill, but it's been mildly discussed by Arthur Ed Moore's channel that I discussed with PK. So I'm just gonna put this out there. I hope he sees the stream. I did a stream version of this. I did pre-record videos of the utilitarian series, but now I do a stream. I'm just gonna have one stream on it in conjunction with my links on my previous videos on it. So yeah, I'm just gonna put this out here. All right, let's get into it. The introduction of it. Okay, what is it? It's the idea of moral worth. An action is solely determined by the contribution to overall utility in maximizing happiness or pleasure as summoned among all people. It is then the total utility of individuals which is important here, the greatest of happiness for the greatest number of people. Utility, after which is the doctrine is named, is measure in economics of the relative satisfaction from or desirability of consumption of goods. Utilitarianism can thus be described as a quantitative and reductionistic approach to ethics. So yeah, I mentioned that in my recents, and some people like to use that term very loosely in the black pill sense, but it's the opposite of nihilism, but you know how that goes. Okay. And then it starts from the basis of pleasure, happiness, intrinsically value, that the pain and suffering are intrinsically disvaluable, that anything else has only value and is a cause in happiness or preventing suffering, or instrumentally or a means to an end. This focus on happiness or pleasure as the ultimate end of moral decisions makes it a type of a hedonism or hedonistic, they would say, and it's sometimes known as hedonistic utilitarianism. Utilitarians support equality by the equal consideration of interests. They reject and arbitrary distinctions as to who's worthy of concern, who is not, any discrimination between individuals. However, it does accept the idea of declining of marginal utility, which recognize that the same thing furthers the interests of a well-off individual to a lesser degree than it would be an interest of less well-off individual. It's a form of consequentialism, and the moral worth of an action is determined by the outcome or consequence. The ends justifies the means. As opposed to deontology, that's another one connected to it, which regards in the consequences of performing an act. What determines moral worth, virtues of ethics, which focus on character rather than rules or consequences. Okay. And let's get into the history of it. I mentioned here the history of it the last time. The origins of utilitarianism are often traced back to Epicureanism, of the followers of the Greek philosopher Epicurus. It can be argued that David Hume and Edmund Burke were proto-utilitarians, but a specific school of thought is generally credited to the English philosopher Jeremy Bentham. Bentham found in pain and pleasure to be only intrinsic values in the world. This have he derived the rule utility that will be good is whatever brings the happiness to the greatest number of people. And Bentham himself, however, attributes to the origins of the theory of Joseph Priestley in 1733 to 1804, the English scientist, theologian, found of utilitarianism in England, but it's actually utilitarianism what he meant. Bentham's furthermost proponent was James Mill, that's Jim Mill, and he's the father of John Stuart Mill, and he's like 1773, 1836. His son, John Stuart Mill, another one, a philosopher who was educated from a young age according to Bentham and principles in his famous 1861 short work, Utilitarianism. John Stuart Mill both named the movement refined Bentham's original principles. Mill argued that the cultural, intellectual, and spiritual pleasures are greater value than mere physical pleasure as valued by a component judge, which according to Mill is anyone who has experienced both the lower pleasures and the higher. In his essay on liberty, in other words, works, Mill argued that utilitarianism requires an political arrangement to satisfy the liberty of principles or harm principles, according to which is only purpose for which power can be rightfully exercised over any member of civilized community against his will. It is to prevent harm to others and cornerstone of the principles of liberalism and libertarianism. Some Marxist philosophers have also used these principles as arguments for socialism. The classic utilitarianism of Bentham and Mill influenced many other moral philosophers and development of many different types of consequentialism. And here's a criticism of utilitarianism. I'm going to see who's in the chat. Yeah. What's going on, Tampa? Yeah. I'm just going to put this up here in a minute. And I'll look for something up right here. Yeah. I'm looking for the philosophers. Yeah. I'll put this up in a minute. Hold on. Yeah, they show you the few. I'll show you the philosophers in a minute, guys. See who's in here. Yeah, what's good, Tampa? What's going on, man? Let's see. Where did I left off? Okay, criticisms. It has been argued that the measuring and comparing happiness among different people is impossible, not only in practice, but even in principle. Defenders argue that the same problem is successfully overcome in everyday life, that rough estimates are usually sufficient. Another dilemma of utilitarianism is that the pleasure of a sadist should have the same importance as the pleasure of an altruist. Although proponents have countered the sadists are relatively few, so their effectively influence would be a minimum that will suffered by others, would counterbalance any pleasure registered by the sadist. Furthermore, the sadist of pleasure is superficial and temporary. Thus, it's a detrimental to the sadist's long-term well-being. Another argument is that sometimes a long time is needed to weigh all evidence and reach the defined conclusion on the relative costs and benefits of an action. Utilitarians admit that a certain knowledge of consequences is sometimes impossible, but argue the best estimates of the consequences or predictions based on the past are usually sufficient. Let's see what we got here. A very specific argument against utilitarianism has been put forth on the grounds that determinism is either true or false. If it's true, then we have no real choice or our actions. If it's false, then the consequences of our actions are unpredictable, not least because they will depend on the actions of others whom we cannot predict. Utilitarianism has been criticized for only looking at the results and actions and not all desires of intentions which motivate them, which many also consider important. Thus, an action intended to cause harm, but that inadvertently cause good results would be judged equally to the result of any action done with good intentions. Yep. You got utilitarianism may argue justifies of slavery, torture, mass murder would require unrealistically large benefits to outweigh the direct and extreme suffering to the victims, as well as taking into consideration of indirect impact of social acceptance of inhumane policies, e.g. general anxiety, fear might increase for all if human rights are commonly ignored. Other critics made objections to the following: right and wrong dichotomy implicit in utilitarianism, whether a good act, e.g. change charitable donations, may be branded as wrong. If there are an alternative donation, more efficient charity, utilitarianism does not take an amount of the fact that human nature is dynamic and changing, so the concept of single utility for all humans is one dimension, not useful. Utilitarianism has no ultimate justifications for primarily valuing pleasure, other than a tautological on that this is the way it should be. So consequences consider that although happiness and an important consequences such as justice or equality should also be valued, taken into consideration regardless of whether they increase happiness or not. Yeah, here's the types of utilitarianism I mentioned in my recent videos. I don't have to go any further in definition. It says act utilitarianism in a case of utilitarianism. It says likely consequence of potential actions in particular, and you can go on down. And it's on philosophybasics.com. Talks about utilitarianism and other philosophies, but then let's go on to rule. I mentioned in my previous video states that when we face with choices, we must look at the potential rules of actions to determine whether the generalized rule produces more happiness than otherwise if there were to be constantly followed. And then it's a long description there. That's the rule utilitarianism I mentioned in my earlier videos of it. The two-level utilitarianism is intuitive, moral thinking form of rule. Utilitarianism basically uses maximize happiness. However, there are some times when we must ascend to a higher critical level of reflection in order to decide what to do and must think as an act utilitarian would. But this method is based on the view that although the act of utilitarianism may be preferable in theory, but usually it's too difficult to perfectly predict consequences. So we require moral guidelines or the rules in the day-to-day life. Yeah, and then you got the mode of utilitarianism states the initial moral task, inculcate motives with ourselves by means of teaching and repetition. Yes. Hypothetical examples. Yeah. I've did some pieces on that. And here's total utilitarianism. Advocates the measuring the utility of the population based on the total utility of its members. However, it has been argued that this leads to a repugnant conclusion, which an enormous population whose individual lives are barely worth living is considered preferably to small population with good lives. Exactly. Then you got the average utilitarianism, and it advocates the utility of the population based on the average utility that the population drawbacks here is known as the mirror addition paradox, where bringing a moderately happy person in a very happy world would have been an immoral act, or logical implicate that it would be a moral good to eliminate all people whose happiness is below average. Yeah, that's average utilitarianism for you. And there's negative utilitarianism. These are the types that you see that I mentioned. You can read this for yourself because I'm going to go to the pros and cons in a minute. And I'll show you the philosophers after this. Promotes the least amount of evil or harm, or to prevent greatest amount of suffering for the greatest number, as opposed to the general positive utilitarian rule of the greatest amount of the good of the greatest number. The justification for negative utilitarianism and that the greatest harms more. Let's see, the greatest harms more. Yep. It's more consequential. Yeah, the greatest goods. Yeah, that's what it, I've done this before with the last field, negative utilitarianism. And then you got the sentient utilitarianism, states the well-being, all sentient beings, equal consideration. Yes, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, so this is the philosophy side of it. I'll go here real quick. So, yeah. Only one person here. Okay, let's share screen. All right. Let's look at philosophers, what I just mentioned, I just read. Yeah, we got Jonathan Stuart Mill right here. Comes after Jeremy Bentham. I know y'all know him. It's only a few, but it's the guy that deals with the quantitative utilitarianism. He's popular. He's an English philosopher. That's what it comes out of. But I will talk about Epicureanism on May 1st to tie it down. That they're very similar. But this is kind of like a black pill discussion because I think BGS mentioned it in his video with the nihilism with Owlman and Batman kind of sense. But I'm just introducing what that term means if he ever uses that term again and why I use it in live chats. But, and I think PK was curious about it. And I'm just hope I keep this live stream up for him so he can see that I show examples. And that's the famous John Stuart Mill. He's a philosopher as well, English guy, member of the Parliament, very utilitarian at the time. And he's well known. We'll stop there. And I'm going to knock this off. Let's screen share something. Let's see. All right, here we go. Green Garage blog.org. We got the 13 advantages and disadvantages of the utilitarianism theory. It was one of my first videos talking about it. Yeah, it's a doctrine which suggests that actions are correct if they are useful to benefit the majority of the population, determine the morality of or ethics, or every decision relies upon the resulting outcome instead of any factor involved. That means, what is the definition of the ends or justify the means in any situation? There are three fundamental principles that utilitarianism follows to create an ethical structure for society. Actions are right and only right if the consequences of them maximize whatever is good or anything that is bad. The only thing that's good in society is happiness. Actions are only correct if they can maximize pleasure for the majority of everyone. Yep. When we look at this definition of utilitarianism, there are some assumptions that must be made. We must believe that happiness is good for an individual in the first place. There must also be a desire within society to pursue what would be considered something that creates the reaction. By doing so, the idea is that the suffering could be reduced because we all are working together to create a world that is mutually happy. But these are the critical utilitarianism pros and cons to review when looking at the definition of this theory. The list of the pros of utilitarianism. We get to focus on happiness as a society. Let's see who's in here. Only one person in here. Okay, good, good, good. Let's get back to it. All right. Yeah, I'll let y'all read it. Okay, the reason why utilitarianism is a popular theory is due to the fact that it puts happiness as a central reason for our existence. When we look at societies around the world today, it is clear that people are not experiencing this emotion. People tend to feel happier when they have access to moral financial resources, but they also tend to experience them more often when there are fewer worries about future employment. In a world where utilitarianism is the primary emphasis of each action, we could reduce unemployment rates, improve households, includes because we would be looking at the effects instead of the process for the results. Yeah. And number two, it teaches us that harming other people is wrong. Anyone can be defined personal moral decision, moral definition that argues for within it the rest of the community. What utilitarianism teaches is that our definition of morality and ethics come from a community-based perspective. Instead of an individual outlook, there are maybe choices that makes us happy as an individual. But if it doesn't help others, then this theory says that is incorrect choice. This is an incorrect choice. It shows us that harming others for the sake of our personal benefit is not an helpful approach. That's the pros for it. Okay. Utilitarianism is an easy theory to implement. There's only one process to focus on upon the implementing the society that functions from the foundation of the utilitarianism happiness. All we need to do is to make this theory work is to get together in a majority group. Then the work determine what the positive or negative effects of each choice would be. This decision makes process something that we all do from our old first days of the childhood, incorporating into a group theory. It's a natural step forward. That's number three. And here's number four. It's a secular system that focuses on humanity. One of the most significant struggles humanity faces when looking at a little form of societal perspective is our vision of spirituality. Okay. According to various estimates, there are roughly 4,200 different religions being practiced in our world right now, trying to pin down what someone considered a spiritual belief and what another person would think to be a scientific fact can be challenging. When we place the focus of each moral decision based on happiness alone, then we eliminate the inconsistencies which occur when focusing on the supernatural deity from an individual perspective. So we got number five of utilitarianism. Let me see. Let me get this plugged up for a minute. Give me just a sec. Okay. Let's see what they're talking about. Okay. All right. Seeking to create the highest good. Although in a perfect world, we would want to see everyone have an equal happiness and opportunities, there is enough of a difference with our various subgroups that can make this impossible to achieve. That's why utilitarianism focuses on the majority as a group for happiness instead of for everyone. When we are pursuing the ideas that bring a maximum level of joy into our lives, and then we are limiting the potential for harm to occur in our families, communities, and overall culture. Yeah, I talked about it in the philosophy we just read. and I'm giving you the pros and cons and disadvantages of utilitarianism. These are the pros, and it's only 7 of them, right? Let's read the 6th one. It focuses on the democratic process for forward movement. In a typical democracy, the passage of legislation or election of representative occurs where there is a 50% plus on one vote majority. We use this structure because it is seen as being the fairest solution to the balance and differing interests that everyone has for their lives. All modern governing structures which feature democratic principles use this philosophy, of utilitarian. That's one of the pros. It's a small version of it, but the total is like the maximum. But that ain't gonna happen because you got a minority leader. We'll get that in a minute. That means we're already using the principle of this theory, but to create happiness in our lives. Now we just need to take the next step forward to apply it's outside of government. So that's not going to be easy. Here's number 7, the pros of it. We get to focus on the objective universal solution. The reason why utilitarianism offers such a promise as a societal approach is because it incorporates universal ethics in an objective manner. We can accurately measure the positive and negative consequences of each action we decide to take as a group. It is a process which allows us to create an independent way of determining what is right and wrong from a moral or ethical perspective. These principles applied across the board in all humanities societies. Yes, it's like an amoralistic way of looking at it. Yeah, those are the extreme sides I mentioned. And here's the list of cons. We do not consider any other element besides happiness. Utilitarianism only focuses on majority happiness as a way to determine ethics and morality. It is essential that we remember there are other items of value to consider when we look at the overall experience of what it means to be human. Love is something which it offers tremendous value, but is also can use as an extraordinary heartbreak. We eat foods like kale because we know that it is a healthier choice than eating Twinkies every day. And even if we prefer to do the latter because it makes us feel better. There are decisions that we make every day that look at the long-term perspective rather than how we feel in the moment. Utilitarianism has some benefits, but it also ignores a lot of our life experiences. And that's number 1. Here's number 2. It creates an unrealistic perspective for society. Imagine a scenario there are 8 people right now who would benefit from having your organs. When looking at the principles of utilitarianism, the balance of happiness over harm supports the idea of putting you to death to improve the satisfaction for everyone else. Why? Because you are not in that majority. If there are 8 other people you to make 9, the chances are that everyone else will vote to save themselves as a group at the expense of your life. That is why the ends can never justify the means. It makes it too easy for the majority of people in a society to create harm using balancing principle. The happiness of the minority must also come into consideration. Like I mentioned to PK before, yes, that's the reason why it's not implemented as much. How's it this utilitarian in the maximum? See, y'all talking about rule and act, what I mentioned in certain live chats and previous videos. And yeah, right, Shade, or organ donor, yeah. So let's get back to the topic. Yeah, that's one of the cons, Shade, I just read. Yeah. The utilitarianism can be unpredictable. When the last time you were to predict the future accurately? There are times when we can take an educated guess as to what is going to happen, but it's very rare to receive pre pre-emotion about a future event that actually comes true. That means it's incorrect to basis of ethical choices about may have or may not have been tomorrow, but we focus on what happens now. In this moment, to determine what path we can pursue to create and improve society. If we're only looking at potential, then there is a possibility that we could achieve nothing. For it also relies on people making consistent decisions. If there's one thing that humans are good at doing, it's changing their mind. You cannot trust anyone to ask for the greater good if the majority decides to get rid of all the other structures which support societal health, wellness. The average person will act. The average person will act selfishly whenever they are faced with a difficult decision, no matter what their upbringing or spirituality happens to be. Why do people follow religions in the first place? The goal of the being saved isn't the initially help anyone else to find some level of eternal salvation. It is also to create a life insurance policy for an unpredictable future, because that is what offers the comfort to the soul. But this process would happen immediately if society shifted to utilitarianism. Yep, and it relies on people making consistent decisions. So yeah, this is the cons of it. It's only 6 cons, so I'm going to read this. Fifth one. Utilitarianism relies on multiple definitions of happiness. Every person has different definition of happiness, although we can find common ground on specific things. It's virtually impossible to see two people with clone perspectives about the world today. Humans are complex beings. What makes one person happy can make another individual feel bored or out of touch with their life. That means we are faced with two choices. We we could either find common ground within our experiences to compromise on a definition of happiness, or only allow the description of the majority to exist. Yep. And here's the last one, and it creates the potential for the majority rule all from to I think through tyranny. Okay. People self-identify as being as a evangelical United States do not support the idea of same gender marriage at the level of 67%, although younger evangelicals support the idea as the majority at 53%. The significance of population of older adults skews the overall percentages. Now, imaging that laws were being created based on the concept of utilitarianism in the population group. If you identify as an LGBTQIA individual in this society, you will be unable to get married. There will be nothing you can do about it. Either, it's nothing you can do about it either until enough people were swayed to come over to your position. Just because the majority of the population believes something is right does not make it the ethical choice. That process kept women from voting for centuries, permitting the slavery to exist, although for child trafficking and exploitation. Still today, many more activities that harm others is some way that this is why happiness cannot be permitted to be the foundation of societal pursuits. Sometimes the correction of choice is not the popular choice. Yeah. The pros and cons of utilitarianism shows us that there is a time and place where these principles offer a potential benefit to society. The issue here is that the advantages cannot balance out like the likelihood of harm would be exists at the end of the day. It does not take into account how people in minority positions factor into that society. Exactly. They are either forced to pretend to be happy or allow themselves to be exploited for the greater good. And about the author, Brandon Miller has a BA from the University of Texas at Austin. He is also sees a writer who has written over 100 articles. Yes, and he's well read. He's at Green Garage Team.blog, and there's a video of him you can find on YouTube, but I'm not going to play it here. So yeah, it's the pros and cons of utilitarianism, 13 advantages and disadvantages of the theory. So you got a lot of people talk about it in the space and even the black pill sense, but yeah, I'm just like rambling off information. Yeah, so I just want to put this out here and just put down what I got my thoughts on it. I just decided to make a stream about it, man. Yeah. So yeah, it's just this is what I put out there. It talks about utilitarianism. What we mentioned. Uh, let's see. I'm gonna stop the share for a minute. It's gonna put this up here. Stop screen sharing. Yep. Let's share screen. So we start out. The introduction of it, right? I'm gonna stop the screen share. And we also ended up with the 13 disadvantages of it, right? Screen share. So yeah, get this out the way. And I got some more. So yeah, I'm gonna start the screen share, and anybody wants to pull up, you can have something on the topic, you know. And that's just like, you know, my thoughts on it, man. Because utilitarianism is like a doctrine that I've heard recently for, you know, BGS. I think he talked about it in the black pill sense, and then I think me and P. Gay got a long discussion out of it when he was talking about DMX, and he was curious about the philosophy. I hope he sees the string so he can, yeah, yeah. But you know, yeah. All you hear is him in the background. Shit. Yeah. I'll move him out the way. Yeah. Yeah, man. Yeah, I just want to put that out here for a minute. I'm going to show another share before someone comes up. If they want to debate this with me or what's the side. I still got the 13 advantages up. So, you know, let's get the screen share for a minute. Okay. Yeah. Got this up here. Yeah. Knock this out of here. All right. What's going on?
Yeah, there you go. What's going on now? You do. I want to see. Do you think honestly the guys in this space are actually practicing utilitarianism by doing what they doing as far as the community right now?
That's a great question. I don't think they are. I just made a live stream about nihilism. I saw DS1's video about the intellectual nihilism. That was my response to his video, and he had some good points. But you got a lot of dudes running around have this defeatist mentality. But what I saw BGS's previous Black Pill videos about these two ideologies, I made recent videos on, they become like a hot pill. And I think PK asked me about the stream about the DMX tribute they did. We had like a long discussion about it. I think we just came on the panel and all that other stuff. And I decided to throw these videos up, you know, throw these streams up to see who's interested in this topic. But you know, you got some people who do in certain societies, but not.
Yeah, your speaker was going. I think it's that stream guy. But yeah, as far as the topic, looking at kind of, I want to kind of put that on the man in his space to kind of you know say that they hopefully they're trying to do something like that in order for the greater good of the community. Because I mean, when it comes down to it, I don't see these like stream after stream, you know. And shout out to when Roger had his panel today, man. It was a great discussion. I mean, actually, good discussion, and I was happy that he actually kept it that long. I had to take care of some business, man. I'm like, I can only be on for so long, but man, I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
it broke down a lot of stuff. I mean, life, life off of YouTube still exists, so
Oh
I had
yeah.
to go take care of a lot of business, man.
Yep.
Yeah, but I'm gonna go back and listen to some majority if I can. He
Okay.
hasn't made it. He hasn't made it to the BGS status, man. I remember I go a whole 8 hours straight just listening to BGS.
Yeah. He's got
And
those long straight. Yeah, he cuts back on it.
yeah, I mean, even the series in which you talking about the utilitarianism, I've actually went back and like listened to the whole live, stop, sometime rewind. But since he's taken down most of his stuff, it kind of put a lot of people in limbo to where we have to go off the premise of what we were looking at or dealing with before that. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Yeah.
I was hoping to the extent that that's a that's the only thing I can come up with a lot of guys in the stream. I mean, in this space because man, it's like you know when you speak on the nihilism too. I mean, it's just I don't know,
Yeah, it's a destructive nature. I just noticed that from DS1, and he broke it down. Intellectual nihilism. It's a shame, but a lot of brothers get divided over it.
man. Yeah.
I had to cut some people off like recent months that had that mentality. So
Hey, you just uh, dealing with one earlier with ism.
yeah, and it's just it's normal though. But I'm learning like years ago.
Go ahead. Now, when I press pause, it kind of cuts you out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's probably YouTube's probably sound good, but it could be StreamYards. But when I'm a guess, it ain't like that. I've noticed that.
Yeah, it's StreamYard because I know like Wacky was saying last time, when I put it on mute, that's when I hear the your speaker messing up. But before that, you sound perfect.
Yeah.
Like I said, Sheila got that same issue. She can only have 5 on the panel, but she paid for a subscription to where she can have up to 12 people, but she only can put
Mhm.
5 on the panel. I
Yeah.
mean, StreamYard, it's almost like they still going back through beta stage or something, you know.
Yeah. It could be the new 5G, the fiber optic. It's a lot of upgrading on these streaming sites. Even Zoom. Zoom ain't perfect either. If you have a high quality computer, I've noticed they're not perfect. So we ain't got no legislation to get those things fixed. So, but on a phone, I have to say it's better when you stream. The only problem is you got to go into YouTube in your videos and check in the chat. That's the only thing, like the computer part.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's. But me, I mean, I got the note, so I could do split screen, and I
Yeah.
can actually watch YouTube while I'm on StreamYard on the internet. I got
Yeah.
that option because that's what I was doing earlier when I was listening to you. I pulled up the internet, and that's how I'm able to pull up 2 channels at one time and
Uh-huh.
talk and comment and stuff like that. I got that note.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I got the Stylo Plus 6, the LG. That's the newest one they had. I had that for Christmas last year as a gift. So
yeah,
yeah. Yeah, I have StreamYards on that one.
yeah,
And it's excellent. I just have a small headset and I did a live stream on the Aaron Fountain. I did that with that. And it's actually better than
yeah,
the Chromebook. Yeah.
yeah. Because I my setup, I I actually showed it on my page. I got the two monitors with the Acer with the i5 processor,
Mm-hmm.
and I actually was about to buy my camera cord today, but I'm like, I rarely show my face. I mean, I show my face, but I just rarely go live with my video showing. You know, every
Mm-hmm.
for the most part. But the audio on my phone is good because I got the Blue Parrot Bluetooth that
Mm-hmm.
I use is pretty good. And then dealing with my I think I got an electron microphone. I got a Samsung microphone. I actually gave that to Kane. He's dealing with that mic because I bought probably like 6, 7 mics. I don't even use. I'm actually gonna give a couple of them out as a giveaway on my channel
Okay.
because I got mics I don't even use. I got old headsets, but mainly, it's giving a better quality. And I got microphones that I bought like in a I got a microphone with a stand just because I wanted to buy the boom arm. I went to this place out of Norcross. It's like a what they call like an Amazon pallet shop
Mm-hmm.
where they
Yeah.
buy the pallets. Yeah, so I bought it's like $15. I bought a microphone. It's a USB microphone with a boom arm.
Mm-hmm.
15 bucks. Yeah, but yeah, going back to the topic, man. Like I said, it's like a lot of guys they listen to what we're talking about in this space and they kind of relate it, but at the same time they still want to be that involved circle to where it's like what's it Rael always talk about on narcissistic side of things.
Yeah.
They come from that kind of complex to where you
Yeah.
know
I think I had a lady named Teresa in the chat in my last stream I just did. She mentioned something about narcissism connected to nihilism. Yeah, it has its traits, but you lean towards nihilism at the end. It's like a defeatist mentality, and it's like the end. It's like the black pill, like B just said. Like if you can't accept it, it just means to destroy. You have to be that dude. If you're that dude like the Joker, in the burning building, he said that in a recent stream. You have to be that person, and a lot of people ain't built like that. When all stuff dies, that's just way it goes. But the utilitarian side of it, what he mentioned, Batman, it means to construct. You construct your it's like you're saying outrage, like a cop on the beat. You're trying to right wrongs that you're trying to fix. It's a philosophy like that. It teaches you right and wrong, but it has a constructive mindset. You have to construct life what it is. You have to build morals from the ground up. So it has a moralistic side of it. It's got different versions of it. But most people want the quantity, but they don't want the quality of it. That's the hard part. And then you start getting talking about the total utilitarianism. And just like I see here with these scholars, people have a hard time. But if you can read this from the corporate financierinstitute.com, I already got it. So yeah, I made videos on it.
yeah. And the crazy part about that, I mean, if you look at it about being a utilitarianism, I mean, that's the same aspect of guys who, I mean, to me, in my opinion, SYSB, M, for those guys that do that, which they took it out of context. To me, to save yourself is to kind of, an aspect. I mean, this whole thing of going to overseas and dealing with the women, like I said, the utilitarianism, I'm getting tongue tied right now, but the
Oh,
thing is,
utilitarianism. Yes, utilitarianism. Yes, a mouthful. I know.
yeah, but the utilitarianism, I just said it earlier, but I don't know, I'm getting tongue tied right now. But basically, the situation where they're supposed to save themselves, it comes from the standpoint to where it's just that, you deal with yourself in the aspect of, for the greater good, not for you to go deal with women from overseas. They a lot of guys are giving, SYSB a bad name, and that's what those guys are doing. They're actually, kind of, instead of letting everything burn, they're trying to find a better way to make things work for themselves. That's the whole purpose, which that's what it is. But guys are giving the name of, SYSB just to go overseas and mess with a chick over there. I'm like, you putting smut on a great concept that, kind of vets men to explore options,
Hmm.
you know. And I don't think the option of going overseas to, deal with the women is an option. Well, I could say it's an option, but the point of it is, it's not the only thing you're supposed to be doing with SYSB. You're saving yourself. You're kind of not getting caught, as the people say, with your hand in the cookie jar and stuff. You're not trying to take the, what is it, the not narrow path, but the path less traveled. Say that.
Hmm.
You know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
Basically, yeah, basically, the whole concept is to have a new life or a family, but 95% of the time, it's for you, to have a good concept. But I never kind of support their eugenics thing. But what hurts them is it's the passport bros. It's separate, but the concept of it is just like you have that leader. They don't even support the manosphere like that. I think Kuda told me about it. Yeah, he's probably from mainstream manosphere. We don't know his agenda, but his boys is making it look like a bad name. So I can't help him because, like he said, Sting got on his channel. They don't
yeah,
teach you that. They don't teach you that if you get locked up by these foreigners that are cops, they can lock you up. So they have to be very careful with that. That they're not teaching brothers that. So.
yeah. And then the bad part is, I heard a guy in the manosphere. He said he went over there. He said it wasn't what he thought. See, the whole
Mhm.
aspect of they going over there, they thinking that the women are just over there throwing themselves. And even if you go in certain parts of the town where you get certain women, you run the risk of getting robbed. You know, even if you scrap up, still, it's so many variables to play in there, because just like Charles Faulkner said, that he should be able to go to every city, every state in the United States, and have a guy that's within the manosphere that can, kind of connect with him and work with him and do things. It's like, you're the ambassador for the manosphere within this area. And that's not a structure that's been, kind of implemented, because, we got so much infighting. That's why we'll never have a manosphere. Far as the utilitarianism, yeah, far as that, you know, what are we gonna do for the greater good within its own space? Because it's so much infighting with guys. I mean, now this situation with with them two guys, Ism and Fantastic. I mean, look at them. One wants to make a name for itself. The other one just, it's an aspect of what's to be done of the situation. You know, and let's say we do have a manosphere meetup. You got guys that talked about somebody 8 years ago and forgot about it. Now you
Mhm.
face to face with this guy. It's like, how can you approach? You know?
Yeah. But the game versus non-game, it actually started by the people that's anti that anyway. But it's really you're igniting the so-called gender war that's already over online. But in the real world, it's a problem, but it's fading away soon. They only got a couple of years left until we get another person in office. But when you got guys that's anti that, they actually destroy the space. But DS1 broke it down. You have a lot of what do you say, a lot of incels the whole time. And the reason why Angry Man gave up on it, they didn't want to be checked by Angry Man and his mercenaries. And he broke that down. I was like, wow, I did not know that. And that's what they wanted. That's why you got guys like MOTs, the Fantastic. I give them nicknames. I call one Mr. TEO, then I call the other guy Mr. Fitnall and Blank Changer. And yeah, it is. And Gabe just mentioned, yeah, Gabe, it is. He just said it. It's wild running, yeah. And there are great examples of it. I just threw this video up and said, look, this is what videos, and I just come up with this concept and learned about this philosophy. I'm like, man, I mean, you got some cultures practice it, but
Yeah.
the total of utilitarianism is a lot harder because the minority top group runs the world. You know, like I don't want to say the Jesuits and things or the other people, the EWs, like I call them, you know, with the J, but they work together as a collective. But they're dangerous. You know, you have the Masonic world; they all represent the 1%. But
Hmm.
that shows you what type of world it is. But you know, and you look at the manosphere has been hijacked. So basically, yeah, you can say incels, things like that, what DS1 was saying, but it's more to it. It's basically money at this point. Everybody's chasing that bad dollar. So, you know, we'll see what this election and the future, what these 4 years is going to be like. It's going to be rocky and interesting. I'm ready for this diesel culture and see what they got to offer. But they will get exposed though. You know, people will get exposed out here, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah. I'm on the headset, Gabe. Oh, it's back. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I'm on what you call it? On my Chromebook, but it's all right. But on YouTube it sounds all right. Okay. Private chat.
I'm about
You
to.
about to you about to drop off?
Yeah, I'm about to drop off.
All right, okay. Nice talking to you, man. Like it's good that you came up.
Hey man, I'm always moving into space, man. Like I said,
You
you
everywhere.
got, hey, just like you, go professor, man. A, a lot of guys who come with knowledge, like I told Go Professor, I was like, you're almost going to be shamed in this kind of realm because no one wants to deal with the issue at hand, in which you have to put thought into the process of what you're thinking about and what you're talking about when you come to certain spaces. The
Mm,
guys want to hear the funny, the laughing, the jokes. I'm like, but what about the realness? Like, what about that? A lot of guys are not coming over here to kind of get some kind of intellect and learn and kind of know what's going on within the space and have some type of knowledge. So I always look at channels like this and other channels more food for thought.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I tried, man. I've been doing it for like almost a decade, even before when I started in these spaces. But you have to be different, man. You can't be talking about gender war stuff, gender politics. That really destroys men, especially when it's around involved around money.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. But all right, man. I'll holler at
All right. All right, man.
you.
Peace.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. Basically, what he just said, you see in these spaces. Um, I just threw this utilitarianism, what we was talking about, and then yeah, I'm just gonna get into it. It's just a little piece I'm gonna add into it, and I just talk about the quantitative numbers. Yeah, it talks about the Bethamite utilitarianism is a branch of utilitarianism that was developed out of the Jeremy Bentham of 1747 and 1832. English philosopher, economist, and political scientist, legal scholar, and social reformer. The quantitative utilitarianism is concerned with the aggregated utility maximization, maximize the overall happiness of everyone, and use the hedonic calculus to determine the righteousness or the wrongness of actions. Bentham's fundamental axiom states that it's the greatest happiness of the greatest number that is the measure of right and wrong. The concept of hedonic calculus, also known as the Pfeffelic calculus, was developed by Bentham in his 1789 text, Indoctrinating Principles of Morals and Legislation. According to quantitative utilitarianism, every action results in some amount of pleasure, some amount of pain. For an individual, hedonic calculus aggregated the individual pleasures and the pains on the basis of their intensity during certain pro-ingenuity and fidicity and purity and extent. Yeah, that's the Jeremy Bentham how he thinks. And then you got the qualitative utilitarianism, why I mentioned with Shade. It's like the branch of Rosa work of John Stuart Mill, 1806, 1873. And an English philosopher's civil servant and politics equality, utilitarianism rejects the hedonic calculus and categorizes pleasure and pains in more qualitative manner. Mill argued that a certain pleasure and pains were the greater consequence than others, even if there was no quantifiable proof of their increased importance. He argued that the higher pleasures could only be recognized by those who have experienced them. Yep. Criticism of utilitarianism. Humans' happiness is impossible to quantify. And number two, the aggregate measures of the happiness ignore the distributional aspects. Yeah, I mentioned this before. And then number three, the motives behind the actions are ignored. Yeah, I mentioned this in recent videos of utilitarianism. I'm just going to need it right here with this. And so you got many doctrines of it. So, yeah. Yeah, I know. It's an Xbox headset. But, you know, I used it before. Might use the small ones next time. I'm going to try to use the phone next time. But I did it for this topic right here. So, you know, I might give me a better headset in the future. So, yeah, I'm working on it. Yeah, man. So, yeah, if y'all wanted to join, there's a link in the chat. So, you know, I'm seeing what y'all talking about. Yeah, but this is basically, I just want to put something out here. I hope PK Angel look at this live stream, and I just put some links in them for him. And then where I got this from is the corporatefinanceinstitute.com. Resource knowledge other and then it's / utilitarianism. So yeah, I'm gonna stop the screen share. Yeah, it's a good topic, good round. It's gone for an hour or two. So yeah, I'm just gonna say like almost okay. Okay, it wants to come up.
Hey, what's up, man?
It's gone.
Oh, now it's better. Whatever you did, just changed it. I don't
No,
know.
I had to sit still. You know how it is. It's
Okay.
streaming on. Yeah, you know how it is.
Yeah, yeah. I used to read a bit about utilitarianism. Have you heard of it had to be maybe 9, 10, maybe 11 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Harvard did a whole YouTube series on it, and it's a series called Justice, and it's super duper dynamic how this professor goes through it. Here, let me throw the link in the back chat. That's the title, but let me get the link actually. Copy link address. It's really, man, and it kind of gets into. Did you go over that whole concept of what happens? So, say for instance, there's two people on a train track, and the train is coming, and it's one person that if you drop them, then you'll save the two people, and then it's like, do you consider that murder, or do you consider that? Have you heard of that scenario before?
Yeah, I heard plenty of scenarios. And I think my first pre-record videos, I talked about the pros and cons of utilitarianism, and it's 13 disadvantaged by this Texas guy in the BA.
Cool.
Yeah, I might have to see a screen share. Hold on, I think I got it. Hold on.
So, what's your take on that, though? So, what is it like? What did you think? Like, so are you killing? Are you murdering? Or is it right to sacrifice one for the majority?
I mean, I agree with the concept, but the difficult part is the minority top people that runs the planet. That's the hard part. I'm a total basically utilitarian mindset on that. Most people, we already got rule and act as a concept in America. So the military basically, BGS said, it's in the military. When you go outside of the military, that's when it gets hard. Everybody's got different philosophies. So, you know.
Yeah. Because the utilitarian perspective from the military is that one for all, right? You just, right? Or the majority, like it is strict, right? In the military. Is that the stance? I haven't read up on it in a while.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the 13 disadvantages. And then if you can read it from greengarage blog.org.
Okay.
And the guy, he's got a video. He's out of Texas and Austin. And
Oh,
it
cool.
says now is the time for utilitarianism. I believe it's Richard, something like that. You can find it on TED Talks and all that. Yeah. And that's one of my first pre-records of videos of it. And I got the idea from BGS's Black Pill video with Batman and Owlman, how he used the concept of the two.
Okay.
And he said Owlman's like more of a nihilist. And I did that later when I was studying utilitarianism. I said, well, a nihilist is destructive. He has a defeatist mentality, but basically a nihilist, they got so many terms for it, like a moral nihilist. You know, I went in depth into that, you know, and I think I did a few streams on that. But this one particular, I want to point out, it's rarely used in this space. I'm just going to bring it out. And PK Angel asked me about it on Art of It More stream. And I told him what it was. It's basically, it's a form of consequentialism. It's basically a amoralistic like doctrine, but it does preach morality a little bit, right and wrong. It's subjective, it's relative, but it comes from Epicurus, you know, Epicureanism. I will make a stream on that, Black Pill Talk on May 1st, and I'll go in depth on Epicureanism in connection with utilitarianism with the philosophy aspect of it. It has some connection to hedonistic utilitarianism. So yeah, it's a big philosophy. It's been around for different decades or eras of the, like the 1800s, like the 3 centuries probably.
Yeah.
And the concept is not new, man. It goes back to Epicurus, the Greek philosopher. You know, that's where it comes from.
Yeah.
So Brandon
What do you think is
Miller,
the strongest argument for it? Like what is the argument that you greatest relate to, that you're like, okay, this is where I take my stance based or for or against based upon this particular argument? Or do you make such a strong delineation?
My strongest argument would be the other forms of utilitarianism, like the rule and the act. I mean, total is probably the best if things do collapse. But the problem is, majority of people can't come together because you're dealing with a minority group is for themselves. So it's an individual right. So I understand that aspect. So it has its weakness. So I have to learn that. I was like, okay. But the strongest ideology connected to utilitarianism is nihilism. You know, that's the argument that people's having online away from this space. So if you talk to people that deals with esoteric knowledge, they'll tell you that. Like Epicureanism versus Stoicism is the same argument. You know, you could pick those two apart. So I think I did videos on that too, live streams on that as well. Yeah, I got this from the author named Brandon Miller. Has a BA from University of Texas, Austin. He posts this up here, and you know, and then this guy named Richard in the video he put in there. So yeah, it's all on YouTube. They talked about this like 4 or 5 years ago. I've seen it. I haven't seen the old ones. It's just a basic.
I used to read a bit about it. I used to read a bit on it some years back. I always try to like listen to what they say, right? Listen to the ideas and the concepts, right where they came from. But then I always try to look at some practicality, right? What can I walk away with that I can actually apply to my life? Because otherwise, a lot of it is just theory and ideas and thoughts that are just put out there, explaining the concept. But I'm like, what is the application here for me? Right? Do you see any of that in or have you seen some of that application in your so you walking down the street, right? And I don't know, Keisha's starting to fight with with Pookie.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like, do you jump in, right? Or what theory kind of allows you to act on some of those ideas? Right? Do you jump in and maybe it's a baby by the way, right? It's a baby right on the side.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I try to take and bridge those ideas and concepts.
Yeah. I try to help people that's like the cop on the beat. I think BGS mentioned it. That's like a cop on the beat example. And or a person trying to say something like kind of like a Batman approach. Yeah. But sometimes people gonna have their problems, like they gonna be negative. And I learned, can you accept it for what it is? Yeah. And that's the black pill side of it. And it's deep. And if you're a nihilist, they don't care. They just do it. You know, it is what it is.
Yeah, so, it doesn't matter what the result, what the outcome is. Yeah. Okay.
My outcome in utilitarianism is simple. Like there's you got some equal justice, sometimes we get our hands dirty if it's necessary. They want us to
Yeah.
kill. I'm the same way, and I hate to say it, my zodiac makes sense. I'm so possessive, and we construct everything what we do. Like, we like to build.
Mm.
You put me something in my hand, I'm gonna do something with it. And
Okay.
that's how I worked. And even when I was a
Mhm.
barista serving customers, I can't please everyone. I realized that, and it took me 2 years to
Yeah,
understand that. It took me two
that's
years
a
to
huge.
understand that. Yeah, and I'm in my
Yeah.
early 30s, and I can tell people that, like, in these spaces, I've seen how the
Mhm.
minister don't went left field and don't care.
Yeah.
It's a personal choice. So yeah, you
Mhm.
have choice. That's why me and MOT fell out, because we can't be all conservative. You got one person disagreeing with you, and they ain't even
Nah,
unified, and that
y'all just
shows
fell
you.
out because he crazy. Like, he's just a
Yeah,
crazy person. But yeah, go ahead.
yeah.
I'm sorry. I'll
But
let you finish.
it's just
Yeah.
like, I get his concept, but he overdoes it. I've seen it before, and it never
Oh yeah.
worked. Yeah, and
I
same
mean,
with
but how do you dominate and like create this world where you're the leader? Like, I just don't get it. It's literally like, right, some type of villain character that he assumes and
yeah,
tries to, like, rule with an iron fist by dropping people off panels and blocking people. Like
yeah.
that's his method of ruling,
I
or like
I,
just
I
literally
laugh.
will go and
Mhm.
interact with people, and if he doesn't agree, he'll throw a tantrum and then start his
Yeah,
own street. Like,
yeah.
what is that? Like, where is the productivity there? And then you kind of get your own little cronies together. And this is part of, like, right, it's not all trolling with me. It's that
Hmm.
I really don't like the character of certain people on YouTube. I really don't.
Yeah, yeah. Same
Like a
here.
Mike
Yeah,
V, like a MOT, like a Fantastic. Like, I just don't like the character that they portray. So I mess with them. I'm not saying it's
yeah.
the best thing to do all the time, but it's really not all just like, oh, I'm just have fun. It's like, no, y'all whack people to me. And yeah, whack people are targets for me. You know, I mean, hey, that's just how I
Yeah,
get I get off. But yeah, so kind of this whole idea, like you were saying, you've seen some of that implementation by the MOT character that we see of some of
yeah.
these ideas. Hmm.
And ever since the summer, I subscribed to him. He was interesting, and he talks about this progressive talk and conservative
Yeah.
talk. But what I've learned from him is he tries so hard. I'm like, dude, I was that dude once when I was a lot younger, and I realized, how can you? And I'll say it like this: how can a person want a niggerless society but do the most nigger shit? And when Kuda said that
Yeah.
to him,
Yeah.
he was in dead silent on that zero string. That just shows you right there is his action. He didn't say nothing. And
Yeah.
Complex was there, it looked like a fool, and they didn't say nothing. They was dead quiet.
Nothing.
And Kuda just
They
said
just
that.
let him. They let him go. They all say all types of crazy stuff to each other. Like, I don't know if you ever heard these Aegon streams.
Yeah,
They
yeah. They
say
say,
all
yeah.
types. Man, I remember the
I've been in
time when
those
Fantastic.
streams. Yeah.
Man, I
I
remember when
see.
Fantastic went off on Complex and was saying stuff about his dead wife, and, like, it's just
Yeah, yeah.
crazy.
Yeah. But
But then
see,
they pushed that under the rug like it didn't happen.
and I
It's
always
just such a
remind him, I
weird.
said, where I come from, you would have got killed
Yeah,
for that, man. I
facts,
mean, I
facts.
mean, that's just the way it is. That's why I be on Fantastic's head a lot. But see, that
Same.
white boy incident hurt the
Hmm.
brain trust. And I tell you, the only person who was mad was Jay Shine, and he was hurt by that. And that's why
Yeah,
he tries to tell him, look, he's hurting our brand over here. And that's why the
yeah.
brain trust ain't going nowhere. And I
Oh,
laugh
it's
because,
defunct, right? It's
yeah,
defunct. Like, now
yeah,
Mike V and Renaissance Man, they have a whole different channel, and Complex is just running the channel down with weed
yeah,
and sex talking. But hey,
yeah, the
yeah, go ahead.
sapio stuff.
Yeah, man.
I might have to break down a stream on that in the future about
Yeah,
sapiosexualism. Probably do some more research. Yes, unisex, but here's the thing: I want to do some studies. What's the difference between a male sapio and a female? Because this is kind of crazy. Because people gonna like who they like, but there is a
yeah.
hybristophilia versions of the two. But if you want something with
Hmm.
hybristophilia, like Kuda said, yeah, you want somebody that's witty. You don't want
Yeah.
nobody that's not witty, because you don't know if they'll change at the end. That's how
Yeah,
marriage is.
man. Yeah, and you just kind of, and I think that the whole, I think one thing you said that was really important earlier is that you just can't satisfy everybody. So you really just have to, like, make choices that are best for yourself, and just go with that, no matter what a lot of other people think, right? Because I think that in the manosphere, a lot of the ideas that you need to, like, they will literally question you until they find something that they don't disagree, that they don't agree with, and then they'll like poke at that as if you
Mhm.
need to as if that thing is the standard or the thing that crushes you in their eyes. It's just so weird, where it's like this group think type of mentality. But I don't want to like drift too far away from your topic though about utilitarianism.
No,
But
it's
it's
no,
interesting.
it's on point, and I decided
Mhm.
to make it, man. Like,
Yeah,
and it's just what I see from this space, and then I use this concept as an example. Like, how can we
yeah,
have a society like that worldwide? And it makes me wonder, And I'm
mhm.
glad I had to cut them off because I need some new fresh subscription. That's all it did. It just helped me
Yeah,
out. But then siding with Kuda, technically not siding. I just like his content. He's more diverse and learn about
yeah.
his history of YouTube, and he's fair.
Yeah, I just
And
think he's a cool person, man. I
yeah.
don't agree with everything he says. I don't
Yeah,
agree with all
sometimes
this stuff, but
I don't agree all
whatever.
the stuff about how it started, but I understand where he's coming from.
But it's okay because we don't have to agree. Like we don't have to.
Yeah, we
Like
can
we can
agree to
disagree and
disagree
be
as
cool.
men.
Right?
Yeah. It's just
Absolutely.
like that. It's just like the guy
Yeah.
said in the barbershop years ago. He said, my
Yeah.
father said it best. He said, you can disagree to disagree as men as well
Yeah.
at the same time.
Right. And I think that when you disagree and still have respect, that's where that relationships comes from. Because the stuff that he say, like as it concerns like men who are higher earning, they're pretty much licks for women who, I don't know, have bad intention. I wouldn't say that, because I think that there needed to be some skills, some tact, some know-how, some knowledge to be able to earn. Where I don't think you're as vulnerable as a lot of what Kuda and some other dudes say that you are. Like I think that you develop things to be able to sniff out the evil or the bad in women. Because I knew that, right? Because I could tell at times when I meet a woman, before I was married for sure.
Mhm.
When I met a woman, she started asking questions and trying to see where I'm at. I could tell where her intentions were. It wasn't always the best, but it doesn't, I didn't consider myself a lick because I knew what I wanted, and she wasn't gonna, like, no woman was about to suggest me into something that puts me at a disadvantage.
Mhm.
So I disagree with that, but it's cool. Like it's cool if he thinks that. Like, but it's cool. Like I'm not
Yeah.
mad at him for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, when you went in on Beach, man, I was the last person I thought
Oh
y'all was gonna
man,
be. Yeah.
that was just fun, man.
That was
I
fun
don't.
too. Yeah, but she's all right with me.
It's
I mean, it's
cool. It's
fun. It's
cool, man.
cool.
Like, yeah, it's just like you could do that. Like, you could go in. I'm like, why you twerking in the front? Like just like I don't understand why. I don't understand why they who made the standard that everything in this space had to be so serious.
Yeah.
Like like we joking all the time.
Yeah.
All the time. So it's cool. But then if you joke, it's a troll and you're not here for
Yeah.
productivity. How could you be on these panels or in chat rooms being a troll and be productive and be a quality man? I mean, like,
Yeah.
you're doing a
Doing
lot
too
of
much.
psychoanalysis for some jokes. Like
Yeah. A
and
lot
that
of
makes
people
people,
just
yeah.
don't. Yeah, a lot of people don't have thick skin. They don't have
Nah.
composure. And the
Yeah.
sad part is, when I troll, it's soft trolling. I just name flip the
Yeah.
stuff they say, and it's
Yeah.
ridiculous. I
All
just
that.
poke fun of them and tell them what they're wrong at, and I just sit back and let them hurt themselves at
Yeah.
the end. But that's what you do. I've been doing that for
Yeah.
like years when I was younger, but I grew
Yeah,
out of that
man.
and started laughing.
You know how it was, like when you were growing up, it was always like you will always joke with each other as kids, even as
Yeah,
adults, man. I remember even in college, man, sometimes we would be in like the engineering lab, sitting at our desk and kind of be joking on each other, like I don't know, just like little nerdy calculus jokes, or like
hmm
like like somebody in here about to change their major to business, like because people wasn't getting the labs and whatever. So we'd be
yeah,
joking like that. But people will crack back at you. It's like, oh, yo, what'd you get on that last exam? Oh, all right, I see. So it'd be like a go back and forth, and that's what that thick skin thing that you were talking about. But
yeah,
here, it's not that. It's not that. It's like it's clicky. It's clicky at best.
yeah,
But but yeah, man.
yeah,
I just again, I'm in front of computers normally for work. So to click on a YouTube link is like nothing. It's like click, keep working, click, keep working type of thing. So, but yeah, man, I just appreciate just real dudes. Yourself, Kuda, O'Shea. Like me and O'Shea have an offline relationship. Like we talk all the time. Yeah, man. That's why he always put stuff up above me because we friends. I'm like, man, don't be sharing that, man. It's all good. He was like, nah, man, I got to big up the brothers and everything. And, you know.
When he first came on the scene, I wasn't too fond of him, but more I realized about him, he's all right with me because I'm more neutral with him. But the good thing is, what I can say is, I give him the nickname Old Slave. When he be slaying these niggas, man, I be laughing.
Man,
I be laughing. It's hilarious. I mean, he has a right to say that.
And he doesn't take it serious, slow.
No, like, he don't. He just jokes with it. Yeah. You know, I'm okay with him. And same with Angry Man. See, I have no issues with him. I say, you created 2.0 space, but I give him this.
Right.
He's doing something right to step outside of himself, you know, and we had a good conversation. Me and Ramil's all right. And they play up to Ramil. Ramil, they will never dare say nothing to Ramil. They play up to him. His streams was crazy today. I was in his live stream. And they was talking about this hidden colors thing. I said, they crazy. I don't care.
I saw a little bit of it and I just dipped. I was like, all right, this ain't my cup of tea.
Yeah.
And when they get getting deep on the porn stuff or deep on the Afrocentric stuff, I'm like, once they talk about some business or if there's some arguments, I'm like, let's see what's going on.
Okay. But the DS1, he shot me out with the capping his life. He mentioned me in the bill. I said, all right, man. And he mentioned Jessica. He said, say what I did. I said the big homie. And I said,
She is. She that big homie. It's funny. It's funny. But I think this morning they had made a stream about you. Did my man's make something about you? What's his name? Fantastic. I thought he was going in on y'all this morning or something like that.
I didn't pay attention. I don't even watch, dude. I don't care. He got me blocked.
Crazy.
Yeah.
I woke up. I'm like, yo, this is wild. This is wild.
Oh, Mr. Fitnall.
You know.
Yeah,
it's all good.
Yeah, it's all good. I ain't gonna watch that garbage. He'll probably take it down.
Yeah.
I ain't.
But that Harvard series is really dope. That one about the Justice series is really dope. It pretty much goes over everything that you were saying that you were talking about. So it might be something valuable.
Yeah. I just had to throw something up here, like, you know, it's a topic. They're talking about Sarah. Yeah, they talk about me wacky. Yeah, let's go on, man. I laugh at him, man. I don't care. You know, he's a clown, man. Like, I don't pay attention to nonsense, man. It's just, I laugh at these dudes. They take this stuff way too serious. All it is you're letting these females in these spaces clown you like that, like DS1 said. And the way he said in his latest video, say cap in his life, I hollered. He mentioned me. He said, shout out to you, man. He knows what I'm talking about. I'm talking about Jessica. He talking about, I said the big homie in the chat, and he started laughing. I said, yeah.
I think Fasten. I think Fasten is in. I think he went back home for a second.
Yeah, I've heard.
That's why we haven't heard from him.
He's a good dude.
Yeah, man.
I was trying to get Kuda to come by because if he saw you up here, you know, if he swung by. So, you know, she came up here. He came before. Wacky came on the panel once. Yeah.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
I try to come back over. I know I'm subscribed, so I see him when you go live from time to time.
Cool.
Absolutely.
Appreciate that. Yeah, man.
Indeed. Well, man, thanks for having me, man. I'm gonna hop down. About to get back to my square. About to get back to the square life.
Yeah.
All right, man.
All right, peace, man. Yep, that was Gabe A. Appreciate the brother. It's Fasten recently made a video clip of him being in his ancestral homeland in Congo. No, it's just probably some family business, man. He'll be all right. He'll be all right. Yeah. Let's go on, Wacky. Shalom, man.
Yo, what's up? Shalom, man.
Yeah, I saw you with Big J in that video. I might have to watch that stream about the what's his latest with the game stuff.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
yeah, I
yeah.
had to watch that. I fell asleep on half of that. You know. Yeah,
Oh man, Big J was on a roll, boy.
yeah,
He was on a roll when he was
yeah.
so
He's over there at Antilles right now.
Oh
Yeah,
really? Oh
yeah,
okay.
yeah,
Oh okay. Yeah. Nah, they yeah, it's I mean this space is just funny, man.
yeah. It's
You
funny,
know.
man. They get emotional about this stuff. I kind of took a step back. I mean, I ain't got no beefs with MOT. I told him, nah, he's just being himself. Like this is a pattern they do. And then your boy, Mr. Fitnall, man, 824, he got clowned by Tommy like multiple times. So he was about to cry on the last stream over Mills with Lucario. I'm like, man, you need to stop. Quit talking about that man's over marriage and his wife. That's his business. I don't even care about that stuff. He was straight. So, yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh,
Yeah.
all right. Oh, I know man, you and MOT fell out? Shit.
Something small. He's mad because Kuda try to help those dudes. They was cool at one time, and it's something small, but really Fantastic's breaking them up. He wants to be the man like Tommy, and I'm like, and every time he gets clowned on strings on Bernard, it's like, dude, you need to just calm down. You lost the case with Derek Chauvin. He said he was gonna get off. I said, no, he got arrested, going to jail, and that's eating him up.
Nah, come on now. Anybody who saw the writing on the wall
Yeah,
knew that Chauvin was going to prison.
yeah,
The question is, and this question still stands, is
hmm,
how long will Chauvin be in prison? Anyone who saw
yeah,
the writing on the wall, but
yeah.
but
You made some videos on it. Yeah, I saw it.
but but but
Yeah, and Ramil's got the craziest strings. I've seen his stuff, and he said, "Yeah, it's crazy." They was trolling Mr. Fitnall, aka Fantastic Man. He's losing his mind. And Sir Ism joked on him yesterday, tore him up, called him chap lips. He said he was dirty. He got
uh,
emotional about that. He tried to clown back. I said, "Dude, you started first calling him gay and stuff." I'm like, "Come on, man. What are you thinking?"
yeah, I don't
Yeah.
really,
Yeah, I stay out of it. I don't care if you make a video. It's the stuff he makes. It's typical. I've seen this last year, and then when Biden came around and won, he's still suffering from that. He's a Trump guy. You know, but
yeah. I mean, yeah.
yeah,
Well, you know what? I mean, shit. It is what it is.
yeah,
You know,
yeah. I
it
decided
is
to
what
throw
it
this
is.
video up. Like, we was talking about this topic right here. I said, Gabe, yeah, it's just something I saw from BGS's old Black Pill videos. I'm trying to break down why they teach this stuff. And like these dudes are so obsessed with philosophy, man. It
Yeah,
reminds me of the metaphysical thing in the Sinetta days in 2012. They was arguing
right,
about that and pro-black stuff.
right.
And I see a lot of division in 2.0, and I'm like, oh man, this is sad. DS1 is a trip. He be clowning these dudes, man. Like,
Mm.
look, he warned them. So you know how it is, the females and stuff. I know they have their purpose. He said, no, I ain't against it. I expose all the simps in here. And I said, okay.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
really, it's the males who messed up
Yeah.
the
Yeah. They
space,
messed
not
up. Yeah.
not the females.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
when you have people who say don't let the females in this space, yet the
Hmm.
males are the ones who ruin this space. It's like, okay, can you use your critical thinking skills and see how this space is being messed up? So it's all about critical thinking, man. And a lot of people in here don't use it.
Yeah.
A lot of people in society don't use it. But okay, oh, so you breaking down these different philosophies that what BGS teaches or that he used to teach.
Yeah, all that. Yeah. And I know his followers don't understand it. I was talking to PK on the stream on Art of Itmores. I said, well, I got videos on it. You can learn from yourself. Think for yourself. I mean, the guy, he's good. My issue is it reminds me of 2012 all over again when I saw
Right.
Dawood debating those guys that's pro-black or these pseudo intellectuals. What we got in the space now, and it's growing. And Art of New Style said it best. Like, why they think like this? I say, Art, they have always thought like this. It's just Obsidian breed these guys, and that's what DS1 was saying. They came on
Yeah,
panels. That's where they come from.
yeah,
Fantastic and all of them. And I'm
yeah,
starting to learn that about them. I said, no wonder. That's really sad. So And
It's
they have that female warped mind. Sometimes I don't really scream and yell at them. I just joke at them and things like that. I don't talk shit. I mean, I say little sick words there and there, but I stand on my own. I ain't trying to be somebody's yes man. I understand they have like a mission, but sometimes that can fail. You looking
right,
at the wrong things.
right. My thing is, I just wish a lot more of the viewing audience do a little bit more research and
Yeah.
use a little bit more critical or a lot more critical thinking skills, because a lot of them are not using none at all.
Hmm.
And just recognize when someone is given either false information or they're mixing the truth with lies. I mean, sort of like what you're doing. You know, like for example, you see a content creator who's given a certain philosophy. You did your research, and you're showing the results of your research, but you did your due diligence and did your research, and you think for yourself. You utilize critical thinking. You're not just accepting anything anybody gives to you. I just wish more people in this space have that way of thinking,
Yeah.
because they don't have that way of thinking, they often co-sign to a damn ideology that's either not true at all or just half true.
Yeah.
thus,
Yeah.
thus, thus it becomes an echo chamber full of lies.
Yeah. And
I mean,
one thing I learned about I think what Kuda, we had like a disagreement on his panel once about who created this space, but I was trying to reassure and like I know he was probably around in a different handle as one as a follower, but I said, dude, we no, he kind of respects you in a way. But the
mhm,
thing is, that 2.0 thing masked everybody's heads. And I hate to say 1.0 kind of let it happen or whatever happened at the end of it. Those guys kind of picked it up. They kind of picked it up in 2014, what I'm thinking, because they took some ideas from number one. So, and then DS1 explained, he said, that's why you got your Edward Andersons and all these other guys. I said, I know people fall in different times. I'm learning about why they think the way they do, but
can I say something? Hold on, I'm sorry to interrupt. You said Kuda kind of respects me, but what? I want to
no,
hear what.
what it is. It's hard for him to understand that. Yes, and I try to remind him, you and Soul and Black were the standard, and the other guys that came before him. I was trying to tell him, yeah, I know you love Angry Man, but Angry Man's trying to do his own thing. He ain't worried about 2.0. He's in
Hold
it. he's at it with BGS's neck. He's
Yeah,
realizing that
yeah.
now. And I,
But
and I,
hold on, but hold on. I'm sorry. Once again, I'm sorry to interrupt you. What Kuda said, it's hard for Kuda to understand that the stuff that me and Soma Black speak about was the standard of the space.
Yeah, the 1.0, I was trying to explain to him like the history of it. And he's all really, yeah, but you have to understand that because if you learn it from Angry Man BGS perspective, it's kind of hard because what they was told by certain individual on their side and some 1.0 that wasn't fully 1.0, they give them the lie, say we ran away. No, it's some brothers were here to back up what
Yeah,
these guys
yeah,
were saying.
but what I want to know specifically, what did Kuda believe? Like you said, he respects me, but like what specifically, what was it with him though?
He kind of still has that belief, like he tries to big up 2.0. I understand because that's what he come off of, but he has to understand the guys before him. That's what Angry Man got it from us. He said, really, yeah, I was giving him the history. Like he
Yeah,
said, check you out and look at his stuff, and he's telling you in Soul and Black. He's not Soul and Black. He just the thing is 2.0 got in his head. That they
yeah,
act like they're the standard, and I try to remind him, like, look, the history. I know he grew up in the what they call it, the white manosphere. I call them mainstream manosphere, like Big J. I understand,
yeah,
they have their little favorites. They come out of that. And he said, I grew up on that. I said, well, see, that's the problem right there. But he don't know that the mainstream manosphere got it from y'all.
yeah,
You know,
yeah,
that's the thing, and I think Angry Man knows that. He don't want to say nothing. He try to stop Kudo on a certain streams on the third shift. He tried to tell him, dude, I'm trying to do my own thing, instead of, gearing podcasting, but not everybody can podcast in this space. It's only a handful. So,
yeah.
yeah,
I keep telling people that this space was independent of the mainstream manosphere.
yeah,
We started off independently, and this space was started by pro blacks. This was a pro black space.
yeah,
Yeah, you was this, so you know. You
Mm-hmm.
know, so but yeah, man. But it's like this, man. Me and Zero, we had a little debate earlier today. We was on
Uh-oh.
Aegon's screen
Oh,
because
Lord.
Zero, man, Zero's a smart dude. Like I'm gonna say this, I like Zero and stuff like that. He a smart
Yeah.
dude,
Yeah.
but some of the things he say is not all the way true.
Yeah. Yeah. I have an issue with him. I'm cool with I'm subscribed to him, but
Yeah, me too.
he's just wild sometimes.
Yeah, I go.
I
Yeah,
tried to he asked me about the MLT. That ain't serious. What
yeah, I go. Yeah, yeah. I mean, he cool. He all right, man. I ain't got no problems
yeah,
with him. But
yeah,
man,
yeah,
some of the things he say, I'm like, come on, man.
yeah.
Because one of Zero's main beliefs is that almost every single problem in this world, re- one way or another, revolves around sexual access.
Hmm.
You know, well, in his words, he say pussy. But
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I'm trying
That's
to be clean here, right?
yeah,
So
yeah. That's
he
their
was
problem. And Kuda tried to tell him,
yeah,
look, if you're gonna have to he explained both sides, strict and game. He said if you're gonna do it, but don't try to
yeah.
front like it. And he told me,
But
he said, sir, I'm just a square. That's all he's telling me. I said, I know.
but but
I
uh
know.
but listen, this is what he was saying. He was trying to make a parallel, right? In which he was trying to compare a specific point in history to what's going on now. So he brought up the ancient Zulus of South Africa, right?
Mhm.
And he was talking about how the Zulus, when they war with a warring tribe, they killed all the males and they kept all the females to themselves. So he used that to then say that the reason the Zulus expanded was for pussy, was to get more pussy, right? Then he started making another parallel when he started talking about the tribal wars that happened in Rwanda. Are you aware of the not the tribal war, but of the genocide that happened in Rwanda back in 1994?
I'm
Right?
very aware. Yeah.
Yeah. So he basically said that one main reason for the genocide that happened in Rwanda was over some pussy, was
Mm.
because females from one ethnic group found males of another ethnic group more attractive. So a lot of them went to to those males of that other ethnic group. I said no. I'm like, no, 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 no. I said what caused the genocide in Rwanda and Burundi, which is the African country next door to Rwanda, what was bigger than that. It was deeper than that. It wasn't about no damn pussy. It was no about no damn sexual access. It was due to the fact that a certain ethnic group who made up the majority of Rwanda and Burundi was being marginalized, in which they was denied access to the majority of the resources of that country, in which another ethnic group, which is the Tutsis, which make up the minority of the country, they basically receive the majority of the resources in the country. So it was sort of like an unwritten apartheid that happened in both Rwanda and Burundi, where one ethnic group was being mistreated and another ethnic group received all the resources. So as a result of the decades and decades of mistreatment that the Hutus received, so they just snapped. The Hutus snapped and they said, enough is enough. We're not going to keep being mistreated. We're not going to keep being marginalized and denied access to resources, employment, and what have you. We're going to fight back. And what you had? The genocide. So it was not over no damn pussy. So, me and Zero was going back and forth. So I asked everybody on Agon's panel, I said, listen, have any of you guys saw the film called Hotel Rwanda? You remember that film?
Mm-hmm.
Phil Yahoo?
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah. So,
Excuse
certain
me.
people seen it. I said, listen, the character that actor Don Cheadle played, named Paul Rasasa Sabanga. Anyway, that movie was based on a true story, by the way. And the
Hmm.
character that actor Don Cheadle played, I met the real life Paul Rasasa Sabanga. I met him.
Wow, really?
Yeah, early, like back in 2005 when I was
Damn.
going to college.
Uh-huh.
He came to my college. He spoke about what was going on in Rwanda. He was on the ground. He would, he's a Rwandan, and he was there when the genocide happened. I mean, he saw so many stuff. I mean, he's seen a lot of shit when he was there, and he almost got killed a few times himself, right? So
Right.
when he was in college speaking about it, he gave the political implications, because he also said that the Belgian government, who at one time colonized Rwanda, was involved in the mistreatment of the Tutsis, because the Belgians, they utilized their power to make sure that the Tutsi ethnic group, which is the minority ethnic group in Rwanda, received the majority of the resources, and they made sure that the majority ethnic group, which is the Hutus, they make sure that they was marginalized. So basically, Paul Benga was talking about, what was how the media was given a lot of how the media in Rwanda was giving a lot of just a lot of false information to rile up the people, like propaganda to rile up the Hutus mainly, and it just all of a sudden caused one big bang. So basically, he was saying that the genocide was over a lack of resources that the Hutus was receiving, and the mistreatment that they was facing systematically. I'm like, Paul Rasasa Sabanga never said anything about no damn vagina. So when I said that, I said, listen, I got it from the horse's mouth. He was there. He told us in our college what happened. He never complained about
Excuse
no
me.
damn pussy. He never
Mhm.
said that the course was about no damn pussy. Either way, Zero didn't want to hear it. Zero was sticking to what he believed happened in Rwanda. I'm like, all
Typical
right,
zero.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Typical zero. Yeah.
yes, yeah. So, but my thing is that, listen, and this is no disrespect to Zero, but
Hmm.
I disagree with him when he was talking about that shit. I disagree.
Yeah.
But my thing is that when the viewing audience hears something like that, okay, they hear me and Zero debating, us going back and forth, us not agreeing. Now, you as the viewing audience, you have a responsibility. When I mean you, I'm not saying you personally, sir. I'm talking about, I'm using that in general.
Hmm.
When you as the viewing audience see that, you have a responsibility to go back, go dig in the crates, do your research, and to find out the truth, whether or not the genocide in Rwanda happened as a result of the lack of vagina, or based on what I said, systematic mistreatment.
Yeah.
And what I'm trying to say, I'm sorry to sound long winded, but what I'm trying to say is that a lot of people refuse to do their due diligence. They just rather believe in what a content creator says, not knowing whether or not they're telling you the truth, a lie, or half truth and half lie. But I've
Yeah.
said too much. Go ahead, bro.
Yeah. It's just you're right. Like over I think I have fun over Kudos. We be talking about different things besides game, but he's trying to say, don't even listen to me, man. Like you gotta do your own due diligence how you deal with life. Get off this internet, man. Like he's trying to do different things, clean up his content. Like everybody's trying to do that. I've noticed because all that beef and stuff don't get you nowhere. I let Kevin be Kevin. I don't even talk about him that much. And you got these followers don't know people. Yeah, basically what this video I'm putting out is basically like stuff like you hear from the 2.0 spaces like BGSM types. You got to watch these esoteric people. They'll throw words to confuse the youngsters and try to use it on people like it's a doctrine, but it has its pros and cons. That's why I put it up there. Now, when me and Gabe talked about it, yeah, you got to have some input and some fallouts and things like that, but you have to learn to agree to disagree or disagree to disagree. And I think our new style made a live stream about that. And Complex got in, and I told you about Beasley. Beasley's just half trolling him, and he was out of argument, out of character. I try to tell Complex, man, you gotta let that go, man. He got you. He got you up in your feelings for a minute. He's just messing with you. And some people just do it for fun, and some people just do it for information. You just got to learn to talk.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah. Beasley, he trolls for fun. You
Yeah.
know, yeah, he trolls for fun. I mean, I've heard Beasley a few times. I've been, gotten conversation with him a few times. Yeah, he trolls for fun.
He's got a channel called General Beasley, but he got flagged on the president for Beasley for the music and stuff. But he has some good stuff, you know. But we talked, and I think he's the same sign as you. But he said, I think you have to have composure when you talk to these people because some people just don't have a little fun, you know. But you can learn the same time. But but I learned from different people, and me and Gabe had a long conversation a few minutes ago about things and like that in this topic. I said, yeah, I just pulled some sources out. I just talked to Sheed earlier. He had to drop off. So, yeah. So I had two people. I'm surprised Gabe subscribed. And I said, man, appreciate it, man.
Yeah, Gabe. I was on a live with Gabe, I think last night.
Yeah.
On Rudemp's channel. Rudemp.
Yeah, Root silly. Yeah. Root something else. I was on a panel with Gabe first time with him. I was used to talk to him in the chats and he be trolling and he be doing donations, right? And he told me how he does it. It's just easy. But when he argued with Beach, that's over there with Kudas, right? I never thought they was gonna argue. And they went at it. And it was a midday stream that he did. And I was on the panel.
Who's that?
I think it's Beach, something like Beach is like something like she's cool with Kuda and them and Ism and them, but she always on Kuda's panels mostly. She got an argument with Gabe, and Gabe was messing with her. He said, "You be shaking your ass on camera and all that stuff, messing with her." He said, "Oh, you been what?" She said something with a remark, and I started laughing. I said, "Oh, here we go." Yeah.
I remember when Gabe went on the Black Brain Trust. This happened a few months ago.
Mm-hmm.
And man, he got into a full out argument. He went on the panel and got into a full out argument with several of the members of the Black Brain Trust. And I happened to just click on the video and they was right in the middle of the argument. I'm like, damn. The hell
Yeah.
is that?
Gabe has a history with them guys, and I'm not gonna get into it because Complex said, "Yeah, we helped his wife," and so he said something on Zero Stream. I'm like, I let that go. Gabe likes to mess with it, and DJ Kuda said it best when they was with the Brain Trust. It was a lot of times like that, and I'm like, wow, yeah.
But yeah. But you you said B's the same sign as me.
Yeah, Sagittarius, yeah. Yeah.
Y'all believe the zodiacs? I don't believe in that stuff.
I mean, sometimes I do, but I understand the characteristics of people. I mean, they're great storytellers. Look at DMX and Jay-Z. I mean, their lives are different. They were friends, but they took two different paths. So, I don't judge neither one of them. I had a grandmother that was a Sagittarius. She told those wild stories, man.
Okay.
Yeah. But I understand it though. It wasn't wild, but some of it was true. You know,
Okay.
if he was bad growing up, so you know how it was. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Because I came in. It's funny because speaking of Agon's channel, right? When I came onto the panel earlier today, they were speaking about astrology, and I said, "Man, you believe in this shit?" And everybody started laughing. And Jessica, I think Jessica X, she was on there. She was on a roll, talking about zodiac signs. So I came on the panel. When I said that, everybody started laughing, and Jessica X got quiet, right? So I was like, "Damn, maybe I'll put a monkey wrench in Jessica X's, speech because you know how Jessica X when she be on a roll, right?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "Damn, maybe I'll put a monkey wrench in what she was saying." I wasn't trying to be disrespectful, shoot, but I told her I was like, I wasn't trying to be disrespectful and all that, but
Yeah.
I just honestly don't believe in zodiacs.
Yeah.
She was like, "Nah, it's cool."
The only ones in this space believes that is, I think, Kuda, Art of New Style, and a few others. And Art of Idmore, he don't believe in it as much, but we're the same sign. We're Tauruses, so we have little grudges there and there. But sometimes I don't get into it that much. It's only two signs you can learn from: quality and element signs. That's about it. Just ain't nothing serious. I read up on it. I'm like, oh, okay. That's just something they made up.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Because I like when I tell people that I don't believe in zodiac signs, right after I tell them that, they then ask me, "What's your sign?" I'm like, what? I'm like, yo, I just told you I didn't believe it. Okay. Oh yeah, what up, new Shaka Nulu? Yeah, he was there on the stream. He said it wasn't that wacky. We already talking about it long before you show. Okay, cool, cool. All right.
He had to
Yeah.
confirm that.
So going back to what I was saying, I be telling them, I'm like, dude, I already told you I don't believe in it. Then they turn around and ask me what's my birthday. I'm like, you basically asking me the same question.
Damn.
You wanna know my birthday because you want to know my sign after I just told you I don't believe in it. So then I say, okay, fuck it. I was born on this month and this day. Oh, you're a Sagittarius. Oh, well, Sagittarius. Oh, Sagittarius. That means that you this, you that. Dude, I just told you I don't believe in it. Which part don't you get? Why are you trying to tell me what my qualities are when A, you don't know me, okay?
Mhm.
And B, I already told you I don't believe in it. Why are you telling me something that I already established with you that I don't believe?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, but it all goes down to, like I said, critical thinking skills. You utilizing logic and being able to process when someone tells you something. Someone says something. Okay, you may disagree, but at least respect the fact that that's not what that person believes in.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, I've spoken too much and it's sort of off topic. Sorry about that.
Nah, you good, man. I'm through with it anyway because I said it with Gabe and Sheed already. It's kind of redundant. I just want to put this on the stream, like what's his name, PK Angel, so you can look at it. I tell him that I made a stream on it. If I bump into him again in the space, that he was asking me about it, and that's basically for him and a few others. So that out there. Yeah.
Okay, but yo, I'm about to bounce, man. It was good speaking with you, bro.
Oh
You know,
yeah, same here, man. You're always welcome over here, man. I ain't them types just trying to knock dudes off. I mean, I do the same thing you do. No nigga shit over here. So we good.
most definitely, most definitely. Thank
Yeah.
you for inviting me, man. So,
Oh, not a problem, man. Shalom, man.
all right, shalom, bro, shalom.
Yeah, I'm about to wrap this up, y'all. Um, yeah. I used to be into it and have understand she's more into it. I just like a door. Yeah, yeah. Same here, new. Yeah, man, I'm about to shut this down, man. It's over an hour. I'm gonna take my ass to go to bed. All right, I'm gonna stop screen share for a minute. Yeah, it's a great stream. You got Gabe, Wacky, salute to come out here. Shalom, Wacky. New. Uh, yep. Peace, man. Yeah, I'm gonna shut this down. May y'all bless y'all again. Shalom.